Hello, LinkedIn. I hope you're having a fabulous day today. I am Janice Thornton, your online personal trainer with JT Fitness and Golf, and I specialize in helping people with their golf game to improve your golf fitness so you can get strong and go long. And I also help those who just want to improve their health, general health, and want consistency with their exercise and workout programs, all done online in the convenience of your home. So that way you are able to just get your workout done and move on with your day. And I am here with Edward Givens, and he does health insurance. He's a health insurance specialist. And we have been reviewing this book, Never Pay the First Bill and Other Ways to Fight the Healthcare System and Win. And right now, today, we're going to be reviewing chapter 7, and it's protecting yourself from the price gouging. And Edward, introduce yourself again, and then let's get started into this chapter.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Edward Givens. I'm a health insurance advisor, licensed health insurance agent in 10 states. And Janice and I came across this book and thought it would be great to help people just understand how to navigate the system. We're not talking about whether the system is good or bad, but how do we navigate what we live in currently? And the last chapter and this chapter are part of a section called Avoiding the Need to Fight with Your Healthcare. If you find yourself in a position where you have to utilize it and some of the outcomes aren't what you expect. And in this particular one, he talks about taking a trip to a foreign country, going into an emergency room and paying a very low fee, a total of $30, I believe, for being in and out the door to be seen and have a couple of tests done. And that would be awesome if that's the way it was all the time. But again, he went into the emergency room. In the United States, on most plans, you'll see if you go into the emergency room, if you're not admitted, you're probably going to be paying at least $500 for that visit, because they don't want you to go to the emergency room for non-emergent situations. The system is built that way to deter that. If you happen to be admitted, then things are a little bit different. But what he brings up in this process is, if you think you need to go to the emergency room, there's something going on, and you don't want the system to take advantage of your desperation or your eagerness to have this problem fixed by overcharging you for something that should be a reasonable charge or an understandable rate. So through this chapter, he kind of gives you some ideas on what to do. And I do have to admit, to protect people from overcharging, Al Lewis is a co-founder and CEO of Quizify, and he recommends that when you are signing the documents, when you go into the ER, that you actually add a statement that will help protect you from being overcharged. And the statement is, I consent to appropriate treatment and including all applicable insurance payments to be responsible for reasonable charges up to 2 times the Medicare rate. And then also take a photo of that for your records when you sign the document. And Janice, you brought up earlier, make sure you get a paper copy, right?
Absolutely, because of course they want you to sign an electronic version because it's fast. It goes right into your file, so it's easy for them. However, you won't be able to add that statement in if you're just signing their documents. And they're not going to take a picture of your statement and add it into there. So you have to ask and insist that you will only sign the paper version of what you agree to pay. So that way you can add this in, that statement in to the document, and always make sure you write out that statement first. I would initial it and then sign it. Don't sign and then add later, because that doesn't go, because they can say, I witnessed you adding it in later after you signed to this original agreement. And then I would also take pictures of the paper documents that they sign, but you may have to put up a little stink too about that you want paper, because I guarantee you that person checking you in is going to roll their eyes going, really? Just sign right here. And this will make it easy. However, push back is all I'm going to say.
Yes, don't let your hour of need cause you to make a rash decision when you can do something to help protect yourself. Now, when this was written and when these ideas were brought up about writing this extra statement in, it was prior to this year, 2022. And you should be able to, in the United States, go to any hospital's website and see what the cash pay rates are for procedures. Now, again, not all hospitals are complying with this, but it is a law that they're supposed to comply with this. So you can see what those charges may be based on reasonable and customary charges. And in the United States, even if you are on an Affordable Care Act plan, which are dictated by the state you're in and sometimes by this county you live in, on what plans you can get. If you're outside the county or outside the state and you need emergent or urgently needed care, it has to be given to you at in-network rates. So again, you have to look at that and make sure that that's what's going on. It is possible that you will be charged for other services outside of that, which is why you need to be diligent in following up on what you're being charged, getting a complete bill, getting an understanding of what the codes are, so that if you do get an exorbitant bill, you can fight that or ask questions on what the charges were to make sure you're being charged properly.
Well, I know one of the stories that he was talking about is, this woman had migraines and going into the office, and, she's thinking, or going into the ER thinking, now they want to do all these, they're going to want to do all these scans. They want to do all this stuff. Like if you're someone who has an issue like migraines and you're going to the doctor on a regular basis,
Oh, we froze.
these doctors do. I can hear you. It's me, I'm sure.
No, you froze
There
for
we
just
are.
a second. There we go.
Yeah, but so if you've been to the ER or you have like these migraines on a regular basis, or you have a situation that you have on a regular basis that you might be going to the ER, make a booklet so these doctors don't do an unnecessary test of headshots or whatever they want to look at. So you can save yourself some money, because again, if you sign that piece of paper that says that you're willing to pay whatever, then they can basically charge you and test you whatever. And that's what you want to avoid. One of the things that you want to avoid when you go to this place, go to the ER or these doctors' offices.
True. The other thing you want to do is when you are in the ER or urgent care, make sure you're relaying all the information in as calm a manner as possible. I had a friend who is an ER doctor, had a mother and daughter come in complaining of headaches. They did the history and physical on them, but couldn't find anything that would have been causing it. So they actually sent them back home. It's like, we can't find anything that's causing this. They fortunately didn't do unnecessary tests, but in their process, they're like, we're just not finding something that relates to that. Well, this mother and daughter came back in about an hour later. And they walked in and complaining of the same thing. So my friend took a little more time in that history and asked some more detailed questions and found out that they were having their kitchen remodeled. She found out they're having their kitchen remodeled. She says, do you have gas or electric? They have gas.
Oh no.
They were having a gas leak, which was causing the headaches.
Oh no.
But if they could have shared that initially to say, these are things that are going on around us, that could help save the process and made it a little bit easier, not have them go into the ER twice.
I think that's a great story. That's a great story, though, to let people realize, tell the doctors all the stuff that's going on in your life at the moment. Like if you are remodeling something, when you're remodeling anything, there's so much junk that is in your air, in your house, gas or electric, or you're having tile pulled up, or whatever. There's just junk that gets in the air and it affects your body, it affects your health. Tell people, tell the doctors if all of a sudden you find yourself in the hospital and you don't know why. It's like, this typically doesn't happen, but yeah, be open of what everything that's going on.
Exactly. And that gets you both having a conversation that when they say, oh, let's do an MRI because we can't figure out what's going on with you, you can ask, but why? What other things could we do? Because that could prevent an unnecessary test, or it could reveal something that requires a necessary test that can save you.
Right.
But remember, you're paying the bill. So treat this, the doctor's there to help you, but the system that we work in is there to bill you.
Oh, I like, yes, pretty much. They are there to bill you.
Okay.
And I think that's where people just jump on going, oh, sure, I'll do this test, that test. And it's like, you still have to pay for this. And even with insurance covering most of it, you are still paying a bunch of out-of-pocket expenses that you may be able to prevent. And let's do that as much as we can.
Well, and I had a mentor of mine say today, you know, we have a lot of plans. Your group plan or your Affordable Care Act plan will have a stop loss. Right now in Arizona, on most plans, if you're not getting a full subsidy, you're going to have an out-of-pocket limit for an individual around $8,000. Okay, that's saying if something catastrophic happens, that's the max you would pay for covered services in network with your provider. So let's say that you get something done that's out of network, you're responsible 100% for that. Okay. So in order to not be overcharged, because it's your responsibility to pay for what you're charged, you need to ask questions, position yourself with enough information to ask reasonable questions, and to negotiate a reasonable and customary fee for the services that are rendered to you. He's got some take action points here. As we talked about, write in the clause when you sign your financial agreement with your hospital, I consent to appropriate treatment and including applicable insurance payments to be responsible for reasonable charges up to 2 times the Medicare rate. Again, write that out on paper, take a picture of it, then sign the document. Don't sign it first and write that in second. If you have insurance, make sure that you go to an in-network provider whenever you can. This will protect you from high out-of-network bills. That's another thing for a lot of people to consider. Sometimes there are brand names that people know. Ones that might rhyme with Bayo.
I was wondering what you were going to come up with. I knew what you were going to say. I was like,
and it is a great institution, but there are other institutions that have great doctors, great services as well, that would be in your network and not cost you money and still save your life and help your family.
Yeah.
Get the billing codes in advance. That's not always something that you can do, because what you might read as a billing code may not be the actual billing code that's applied at the time. But you can get the billing codes afterwards to see what you were billed. But you can go to the hospitals or providers website, the hospital's website, and see what the reasonable customary charges are for an ER visit for the type of things that were done for you. So that's another way to be able to protect yourself. See if the hospitals near you have complied with the federal government's requirement to post their prices, and check with multiple facilities. Because earlier in the book, they brought up to us as well, you might have a multi-system hospital system, and one hospital charges $100 for a procedure, and another hospital across town charges $50. They're in the same network, but there's 2 different pricings. So you want to make sure that you're getting the reasonable price for those charges. The other thing is you can also sometimes get much better prices by avoiding hospitals and facilities. And I actually this week had someone bring that up to me as well. Sometimes people will go to their doctor and get lab work done at the doctor's office or at the hospital itself, when they could go down the street to a lab facility and get that blood work done for a lot cheaper.
I think people just get so, well, the doctors, of course, want to keep everything in-house and keep everything, they want, obviously, they're trained to refer within everybody within their system. And they want to keep the money there. However, again, this is your money. This is out of your pocket. So find out if you can go to another place that, well, you can, you do have choices. Go to another place that's going to be less expensive for you in the long run. You're getting the same results.
Yep.
It's like the blood work. Just going for blood work. Doesn't matter.
Correct.
And if insurance is going to cover, it's not going to be much of a copay. Do it. Sure, you might have to drive down the street a little bit, but who cares? Come on, you're going to save money in the long run.
Exactly. And then that also goes to, if you go to the ER and you're given a prescription, maybe your group plan has a $25, $50 copay, or maybe you just have a discount prescription card. You know, you can check your discount card versus things like GoodRx. There are other programs out there too that even beat GoodRx in some scenarios, or even check with your local grocery store. They've got a pharmacy in there and they usually have some plans that you can be a part of where you get generic drugs for $4 or less.
Yeah, definitely shop around on the prescriptions for sure. You will be shocked. And you know this, Walmart is probably one of the worst places to get drugs filled because they have you sucked in shopping because the prices are cheaper. But then when it comes to their pharmacy, typically they have some of the most expensive prices in town. So make sure that you are checking around lots of different, do mom and pop pharmacies, got the least for you.
Exactly. And then, you know, ask your provider for a break in pricing if you pay upfront in cash, because many of them may be frustrated with how they've had to deal with a third-party insurance companies, that if you do cash up front, they'll take that lower price.
Yep.
So you may have that opportunity as well. But it's your responsibility to be aware of what the system can charge you. And we're trying to give you resources to fight that when it's an overbilling.
Well, oh, go ahead.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. There are some plans that are that do not comply with the Affordable Care Act. They are called short-term plans because they can go anywhere from 30 days out to 3 years. There's underwriting that's involved in these plans. They actually are the old healthcare plans. Just instead of you being able to have them in perpetuity, as long as you pay your premium, they're limited in scope now to time periods. But there are many of those plans that actually allow you to be able to look at your provider, if they're in network, and see what their reasonable costs are when you have a service done by them. You know, if it's just a routine checkup, you might find out that, oh, wow, if I go see this doctor for a reasonable cost on one of these plans, it's $30 for me to go see them. But on the group plan, it's a $50 copay.
That's a big difference if you go to the doctor a lot.
So there's a large difference there. Or even utilizing the system the right way, you might find that you have a certain copay, or you have to meet a deductible for a regular doctor's visit on your plan. But you have a $50 copay if you go to urgent care. Yeah. And you have an unlimited amount of urgent care visits. Good. So in that particular case, that might be a reason to go to urgent care rather than go to the doctor, because you know that it's going to be covered in that scope.
Edward, you have lots of good little tips for everybody. So everyone, if you need health insurance, you need to talk to Edward because he's going to take care of you and make sure you're getting the best of everything.
Well, that's when there's people like us, when we can come in and help advise people. You help advise people on better ways to stretch, better ways to approach their nutrition, better ways to approach how am I going to be good at being active and healthy as I age.
Yep.
Okay. I may have learned ways to do that as a 20-year-old in college playing sports, but I'm a 50-year-old. I do not have a 20-year-old body anymore, nor the metabolism of that kid.
I only wish I still had all that from when I was 20. Yeah, 50s is a different boat, that's for sure.
So we
A
need to
much
think of
quicker
different
boat.
ways to do that. So that's where we can talk to someone like you and go, okay, now the body's different. Help me understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a process figuring that all out. Well, let's end this call with, one of the things I liked just to kind of review is what the author said about adding in the statement into the financial part. Because again, when you sign the digital version, literally you're letting the hospital charge you whatever they want to charge you. They haven't given you a price. They're just saying you accept the charges is what you're accepting. So definitely get the paper copy and add that in. And make sure you ask a lot of questions, and let's not be afraid of these CPT codes and the different coding, and let's be willing to look up prices, because it's interesting. The healthcare system is like, when we go to the mechanic with our car, they give us an estimate of what it's going to cost before, and we then sign like, yes, I will pay these charges, or yes, I will do these certain things, but let's hold off on these other things for my car. Why don't they do that for our healthcare? They just assume, well, we're going to just be doing carte blanche. Here you go. We're going to charge you whatever. So don't be afraid to ask.
Exactly.
Do I really need this?
Don't be afraid to ask. And you brought up something that people in our age range will understand. If you're a millennial, you probably won't, because you may never have seen a pay telephone.
Yeah.
But it's like if somebody were to call you back in the day, collect at home, and the operator asks you, will you accept the charges? And your first question is this international or local?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not going to pay.
Exactly. Yeah. Very, very true.
So buyer beware. Remember, it's your money and it's your health. So only expose yourself to tests that you need. And again, it's your choice. The doctors, the providers are advising you on the best course of action based on what they understand. But you end up having to pay for any excess charges that are outside of your bill or coded improperly if you don't know how to fight it. And so we're just trying to give you resources to ask the right questions to make sure you pay a fair share or a fair rate for the services you're given.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, if you have any questions about this book, Never Pay the First Bill and Other Ways to Fight the Healthcare System and Win, please let us know. Edward and I are here for you to help you. Obviously, he's through the health insurance. I'm more on the fitness side of things. But, our goal is just really to help you be healthy in all sorts of areas in your life, including healthcare. Because I'll just stop with that statement.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.